Hello friends and adventurers, and welcome back to Sally Cat Plays Blades of Exile. Although I finished the za-khazi run in the previous episode, I wanted to show off some bonus material. For instance, Koth the Dragon. One might think that since I am strong enough to take on a Drake Lord with a few Drake minions, I could be strong enough to take on a dragon. Koth is level 39, has 5,000 health, 500... well, not quite 500 magic points, but enough. 40 armor. I don't like that. That means he will be very, very hard to hit with melee weapons, which is unfortunate because he's also immune to magic and fire, and resistant to cold and poison. And has 7th level spells on both sides, so can probably cast Avatar on himself and completely wreck me, because look at those three attacks. Yowza. You can try to kill Koth here. You might even succeed. I will not, especially because I still need him to gain passage. Now in this save file I have both the Melora Opal and the Crystal of Purity. So let's see what happens when I offer him a treasure. Ha! Koth sniffs the air around you and thinks, "What is that smell?" He sniffs again. "Ah, yes, that is the scent of Vanatai magic. You have a Crystal of Purity. I have been longing for one of their artifacts for some time. Give it to me, and you can have passage." Huzzah! And everything else is the same. So let us skedaddle. Hey there, Editing Sally Cat here. And now for another interlude in the scenario editor. Turns out there's a few more things that I missed when talking to the Dragon Koth, and I've pulled up the scenario editor to show them off instead of fighting my way through his palace again. Also, I'm intrigued to notice that Town 1 is Cunning Crypt and not Fort Goodling, the starting point. Maybe Fort Goodling is Town 0, I don't know. But that's not the town I want to look into right now. Okay, yeah, 0 to 22, so Fort Goodling probably is 0. I imagine number 22 is going to be Fort Cavalier. '21 is also Fort Cavalier. I guess one is success and one is failure state. Keep going downward from the end, and Town 20, Palace of Koth. Good. So let me open up that town dialogue. There is exactly one character you can talk to, and that is Koth. But it turns out I did not ask Koth more detail about their siblings. My siblings, Motrax, Pyrog, Athron, Sulfurus. Ask about Motrax, the oldest of us, slain by humans. Ask about Pyrog, furious and uncontrolled, slain by humans. Humans are a pesky breed, never should be trusted. Yeah, so Pyrog being slain by humans is possibly justifiable. Pyrog being more aggressive. Motrax being slain by humans is a tragedy. Ask about Athron. She has just had a brood of hatchlings. One can only hope they will carry our line to every corner of the world. And Sulfurus. The strongest of us all, if not the smartest. Heh. I have not seen her for some time, but I know she plans a powerful reckoning against you humans for the inconvenience you have caused us. I wonder if Sulfurus gets featured in any fan-made scenarios. That'd be cool. Okay. Aha. So, if you come to Koth bearing treasure, you get a special pop-up dialog box. If you come without an appropriate treasure, you get this. Koth sniffs the air. We dragons can smell treasure, and I can tell you have nothing that would be of use to me. Leave, and return only when you have wealth. I shudder to think how much time you would waste backtracking far enough to get something Koth actually wants. Okay, and everything else is just empty slots. But there's not just dialogue, I can also look into town text. So I noticed a couple of interesting things here. Then you notice that the rune is damaged. Somehow the floor has become cracked, and the glyph has been broken slightly. You are able to pass it completely unharmed. I don't know exactly where that is. I do have a couple of thoughts. It could be just a random rune in a hallway of Koth's library. It could be the rune that does awful repetitive damage to you, because that level of damage would certainly be enough to crack the floor, especially if it's throwing party members around all over the place. Let's see. Grit your teeth and try your best to survive. Yaha! So, at some point there is a rune you can cross, probably after triggering that enormously damaging trap. The scrolls in this rack are dedicated to religious rituals from all times and all races. One of the scrolls is of extra interest. It describes how to raise people from the dead. Unfortunately, it's written in a rather obscure tongue, and you are unable to understand several key parts of the ritual. Not wanting to risk angering Koth, you leave the valuable scroll behind. Wise choice, that. And that is the same message. Except the follow-up is different. I am assuming one for if you can pass the mage lore check, and the other if you can't. The paper is old, cracked, and faded, and the ritual is described in peculiar and hard-to-understand terms. Fortunately, your trained eye picks out key details. You can now cast the spell Resurrect! Assuming you have Resurrection Balm, of course. Which, by the end of this scenario, I do not. I don't have the recipe, I don't have the potion. So, yeah. Cool, but I can't make use of it even if I actually want to go get this in another playthrough. Okay, I guess, if you tell the statue that you don't have any... If you tell the statue towards the beginning of the dungeon that you don't have any treasure, he says, "Fine then. Then Koth has no interest in seeing you. You can easily depart to the south, and can return when you have something of value. The invisible wall of force remains." So yeah, I don't know if that is something you can say no to and then re-trigger and say yes. Maybe you can just leave the palace and come back very quickly and say yes, that would make sense. But yeah, at that point in the game, I did not feel like messing around with the wrong answer. You humans are so foolish. You have already paid me, and when it suits me, I am a creature of my word. Go to the north gates, and the way will be opened. Maybe if you try talking to Koth again or something? I don't know. Refuse to give Koth a treasure? Koth shrugs, his huge scales shifting and creaking. Fine then. You can rot here. There is even a message for if you somehow manage to kill Koth. Well, Koth sure didn't expect that. He falls and dies. Another of their arrogant race has been and gone. But we wouldn't do that, now would we? And that is all of the text strings that I can find that I have not already read, except for one or two perhaps that will be in an alternate save file. I'm not going to mess with the drakes on this go-round. Magic Broadsword is cool, but not really something I need. Haha, I can walk right through the poppy shrooms. And save Fort Cavalier. Yay. Wait. Something went wrong here. Hang on a moment. Huh. Hopes high, you march into Fort Cavalier. When you pass through the smoky haze and get a look inside, your high spirits are smashed into the stony ground. You are too late. The bodies of the brave defenders of Fort Cavalier are scattered in front of you, strewn randomly among the ruined shells of the smoldering buildings they tried to defend. Slith za-khazi are scavenging and looting the ruins. If you're going to make it back to Exile, you'll need to fight your way through here. You look at the bundle of wands, hoping of getting some extra firepower, only to find that it has crumbled into dust. The mages of the Tower of Magi must have thought it better they be destroyed than fall into the hands of the Sliths. What a mess. Oops. So yeah, no longer have bundle of wands. We have the Melora Opal, fat lot of good that's going to do us. So, despite this being day 19, I did use the character editor to change a few things, including the resetting the day of the scenario, and maybe I did that after the wrong plot flag or something. But hey, now I get to show off the failure state. Walls are a little bit more cracked and crumbly. And it would seem there are enemies about. Alas, no wall of blades for me this time. I do get a black cat. I do get a black cat in my lap, so some small consolation. I don't want to send people wandering out too far here. So where else? Here we go. More enemies. More tasty chunks of XP. worth flame striking for that few. $16 damage. Crazy how such a level difference will affect things, isn't it? Oh, nuts, there's another one. Oh, there you are. I might have to do a little extra healing on Pinky there. One revive coming up. And a fireball just for fun. Hooray! Archery finally does something! Ah, you come in from behind me. And yes, I know the mages are fire resistant. Slith warriors are pretty beefy. But I got all of them. At least I... Ooh, Fluttershy is very poisoned. I should fix that. And since I failed the mission, I can go outside and rest if I want to, and not worry about wasting time. Yay! Potion of Doom, no thank you. I have enough Doom on my channel already. Nyak, nyak, nyak. The fort must have fallen when the sliths punched this hole through the wall. It looks like it was done with massed fireballs. The stone didn't so much break as melt. Looking outside, you see slith za-khazi. Lots and lots of them. You back away. Going out there will get you killed, and fast. These doors, meanwhile, are still locked. Not that it prevents anyone from just walking on through. Oh no, Commander Malak! Died at his desk, and the chest is gone. No magic breastplate for us. And none of this stuff comes up as identified. Apparently the gate control wheel is still not accessible. Okay then. Oh no, Slits have found the emergency exit! I could loot the food if I want to. Might as well have me take that instead of the Sliths. Right, webs. Although the fort fell, you may be able to keep yourselves from dying with it. Fort Cavalier had a secret back exit, a hidden tunnel leading out of this outpost. You aren't sure where it leads, but considering how many Sliths are swarming around near here, it may be your best chance to get away. The tunnel winds for about 2,000 feet, and emerges at a concealed exit behind the Slith encirclement. There, you find a pleasant surprise. Not all of Fort Cavalier's guardians fell with it. You meet 50 exile soldiers, who escaped when the wall fell. Their leader, Commander Malak, greets you. Oh, he's not dead. That was somebody else dead in front of his desk. They're rather cold to you, but do agree to take you along in their flight back to exile. It's a nasty hike back to Darman, the nearest exile city. There are plenty of skirmishes and close calls, and several casualties. At last, you make it back to safety. You are paid 500 gold for your efforts, but get little more acknowledgement. 2 weeks later, the Slith za-khazi attack the city of Darman. The loss of Fort Cavalier was only one battle of many. However, it is clear that this war is nowhere near over. In fact, it's just getting started. The end. To be continued in Avernum 6. Just kidding. As soon as you can, you try to sell the Melora Opal. As expected, it's quite a prize. You get 2,500 gold for it. Nice. So that was the non-canon ending of this possibly canon scenario. So yes, if you do manage to secure any extra artifacts in your trek through the za-khazi run, you can get a little extra gold at the end of the scenario. I believe that Koth will accept only the Dragon Scroll, the Crystal of Purity, or the Melora Opal. I don't think he takes the Cursed Eldritch Relic from that one worm pit. I can always do a couple of more playthroughs and confirm that, although every visit to Koth does involve getting through the Afrits and Golems, so not real sure I want to do that immediately. What I would like to do is take another run through the game so that I can acquire the Dragon Scroll and maybe see if I can reduce the number of days I need to get through when I actually know what I'm doing for the whole thing. Though as you can see through the playthroughs that I've done, maybe you can't do everything in this scenario and still make the deadline, but you can do kind of a lot. Anyway, I am not saving this one, and I will see you all another time. Until then, have a good one, and take care, everybody.